Hi.
I did a little superhuman pose.
It's like digging a grave or something.
I honestly don't know why that was my indication to say we're good.
You can tell by me yawning.
Hmm.
It's I'm still trying to wake up. I had a bit of a late night, so hopefully this goes well. We are bonded by horror. It's been a while. Thanks for coming back. And we're kicking off the spooky season. It's actually October 2nd today, right? I think. Yeah.
As the recording
So
is.
we're kicking off the spooky season. Hopefully this continues a string of hanging out again. Fall and winter time will be a little bit easier just because this summer was crazy for everybody. I know I had a lot of stuff. I know you both had a lot of stuff going on.
Mhm.
It was nuts,
Still
man.
do.
So, yeah, it's still nonstop. So it is what it is. But we'll work it out. That's the fun part. We get together when you can, talk about some movies. Today is a feature double feature, and we're gonna get into what we're watching in a second. But first, let's get a little intro in case you haven't seen us in a while or have never seen us. I'm Eddie Vegas.
I'm JC Walsh.
Scroogey Munster, what's up, dudes?
Yeah, Scoochie Munster.
Yeet. And today, I don't know how to describe. I don't have a fancy name for anything because I don't necessarily want to give away opinions about anything yet. But we'll just say it's a Rob Zombie double feature day,
It is.
and he dropped a new movie this week on Netflix. In the Munsters, which we're going to discuss, and not break down in crazy detail because we're going to talk about two movies today, so it's going to be kind of like a more of a compare contrast. Is there anything redeeming about either one of them? Are either one of them phenomenal? Like we're gonna see what we think. And because both of the movies that we're gonna talk about are very, uh, I don't want to use the word controversial. That's not right. Is they're what is it when somebody's
Divisive. Is the
divisive? Yeah, because
amongst fans and stuff.
they're really like. I mean, this might be these two movies especially, but mainly the new one, the Monsters one. From what I've seen, like.
Yeah.
Like it's just resoundingly not good reviews out there. So we're gonna find out what we think about it. And to compare to that, I had thrown out that I had never seen Lords of Salem. So and that's another one that everybody really like fucking tears apart Rob Zombie for, which I've never seen a single frame of the movie. I don't even remember trailers for it because it came out that long ago. So we
2012,
did
man.
a creature girl feature. Yeah, 2012. So it's
10
it's
years.
one of those things. We'll see
So
how they
Munsters and Lords of
see what we
Salem.
think of that. You guys both watched both of them this week as well, right? I think Joe said that he watched them both essentially in the last 24 hours, right?
Yeah, Munsters was last night after the book signing. And then Lords of Salem was this morning. Like, yeah, because like
Yes, it's fresh.
I
in your
did
brain.
not balance. Yeah, I want to keep it fresh, but my balance between watching for entertainment and watching for show, which is for entertainment and pleasure too, but it's also for the show.
Yeah.
Like the
No,
time
it's
I've been
different. 'Cause you
doing
might
has
tear it apart a
it's
little.
been crappy. Like my time, usually I try to do a day or two before, or the week of, but it's like whatever. But I knew I was gonna get up early.
You did it like me, man. I always watched it
Yeah.
the day before.
Yeah, I thought about you this morning. I was like, oh, I'm
Always.
pulling a Ben right now.
Always do it. Like so speaking of, I watched Munsters the day it came out, or the day it dropped on Netflix. Lords of Salem I watched well previously when it came out 10 years ago, which oh my god.
The last time I saw it too, actually.
Yep. And then I rewatched it yesterday. I try to watch a movie every day in October. It's a great tradition to have. I think most people do it here. I think everybody here does it. So I'm watching it like 8 o'clock in the morning. My roommate comes out, and it's the part where the very end where Sherry Moon is giving birth to the fucking dragon baby, and he's just like, "Good movie you're watching?" And I look at him slowly and I go, "No." And he goes, "Okay," and just leaves. And then he sees like the little demonic baby just sitting there with his dick out.
I thought it was a crawfish. It looked like a fucking baby lobster.
I looked like a crawfish to me too. Yeah.
Isn't it?
Which
they keep mentioning dragon or something. He's like the dragon
that's maybe
rider. I think that's what it
Well,
is.
'cause, like,
That may be what they thought it was
Satan's supposed to be.
but-
Yeah. Sorry.
No, you're good, man. Go ahead.
No, it's, I think if you go by old mythology and lore, the devil or Satan is usually described as a dragon, serpent. So that's just typical satanic type of chitter chatter.
So
The crawfish,
he's
I have no
not.
freaking idea.
He's not a lobster. Granted, they're both red.
They gave birth to the
Well,
alien baby from Men in Black.
Now I do have. When we get more into it, I was watching. I was like, what the fuck's going on with this scene? I'm not gonna say if I love or hate the movie yet, But then I started diving into in my head, of course, the way I do things about why it's going, why it's happening, and why her character is targeted. And then I'm like, oh, there's gotta be some kind of like meaning behind this. And I didn't chance to look it up like I normally do, which this is fine. I rather just talk it out and see But I have
Well, we know
I have my
why she's
thoughts on it.
targeted.
Well, no, I know we know
well,
why.
So I guess we can get right into them then, right? So I had never seen Lords of Salem, so we might as well kind of look into that a little bit, I guess. And I'm gonna just be honest. I didn't think the movie was all that bad. I don't see what everybody hates
hmm
until a certain point.
hmm
So like 2/3 of the movie is actually really intriguing. I thought it was actually well shot. I liked a lot of the imagery. I liked a lot of the things. There are little things that irritated me about it, like the dude it turns out plays fucking Herman Munster is like the guy who wants to be your boyfriend, DJ guy. His name is like I think Herman in the movie,
Yes.
right? So like it's just fucking ironic that like Rob Zombie being Rob Zombie hiring all of his buddies, like that's just what he does. Um, he would like one scene he would have like a Russian accent, and then the next scene he wouldn't, and like I don't know, it was really that character just irritated me. So like I don't know. I don't know if he was designed that way. I don't know. But I liked what's the other guy's name? Ken
Ken
Forrest.
Forey is
Ken
amazing.
Forrest.
Yeah,
Right?
Ken
Joe
Forey.
Grizzly,
He was
bitch.
great in the movie.
Yeah.
And like, dude really does have a fucking radio voice. Like it's like mine, like real deep and
Yeah.
So that was really cool. And honestly, like I gotta be honest. I think out of all the Rob Zombie movies, which every one of them has Sherry Moon Zombie in it, I think this might have been the least worst of her acting. Like she actually wasn't terrible in this movie. I didn't mind her. I thought she was okay. I don't mean anytime I see white people with dreads, I cringe a little bit. But outside of that, like, outside of that, it's like, whatever, But like, I'm just gonna be honest with you. Like, I can't really do that. This doesn't do anything for me. But like, whatever. There's one guy that gets away with it. The lead singer, Shadows
I
Fall. I
was
do
just
not.
about
I
to
think his
say.
hair is gross. Um, sorry, Brian Fair. I think you're a great singer, but your hair is gross. But
Yeah,
uh,
shut up, Brandy Blythe, you
it,
stupid idiot.
yeah, he's can't do it. But yeah, I actually thought I enjoyed a lot of the imagery. Seeing like the way they depicted the witches and stuff was kind of cool. Like there was some cool things in there, and then again, like it just seeing the dude, the senator from X-Men in this movie was cool. He was the book writing guy or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite
Um,
characters actually.
yeah,
Before he
he
turns
was good
into a
in the movie.
squishy pile monster thing.
hmm
Yep.
Yeah, he was good in the movie. Again, I mean, overall, like I liked a lot of the soundtrack. I liked a lot of the the score for the movie. That was really well done. It's just, man, that third act, what a horrendous steamy pile of shit. Like, there's really just not much else you can say, but it just takes a fucking nosedive into some weird Rob Zombie
Oh,
shit, man.
oh yeah. And it's also like it does harken back to like those old 70s satanic movies where everything is trippy like that. I mean, like you gotta say
Yeah,
something. Whether you love or hate him, or love or hate this film, the thing that's really cool about Rob Zombie, he really does dig deep into what he knows. Whether it's like
yeah,
70s
I
serial
agree.
killers or 70s like trippy acid horror, whether you're into it or not, he just goes for it. I mean, I don't mean you and you. I mean you as like
I know what you mean.
generalized, yeah.
Yeah, euphemism. Yeah.
Because there's moments I like that too with him, and there's other moments I'm like, all right, are you just being too typical, or are you just being too artsy? Because
Yeah,
sometimes
are you Rob
the
Zombie
artsy
for the
shit,
sake of
yeah,
Rob Zombie? Yeah.
yeah, because
Yeah.
he does mess with the studio sometimes, and
Yeah.
being horror punk guys ourselves, we do love that going against establishment moments, but then also it gets too
Yeah,
like,
which I get why he does that.
yeah, you can't help but like
Yeah.
appreciate that. But as a viewer, you're like, okay, you're getting a little too crazy here.
Yeah, it's just the way, like the payoff. Like there just wasn't one. Though the last third of the movie, like I get weird imagery for the sake of being weird imagery, but it was literally an entirely different movie. Like it's one thing to
If I
like
forget.
change direction, or it's one thing to like add some shit because like all of a sudden something's happening or whatever. But like, dude, this movie just jumped off the fucking deep end. Like it went like he's a victim of his own writing. I've learned.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a good eye for camera. Like he's not a bad director. He's a bad writer. He doesn't, and the problem is he doesn't let anybody help him. Like he 100% writes all of his own shit, but there's no proofreader. Like there's nobody that comes in and goes,
Hey, this
"Hey
looks a
man, maybe
little
cut
dumb.
this part out."
Yeah.
Yeah, like hey, this you might go a little too far here. Maybe if you just cut this in, or maybe if you change this direction, or like the reason why bands hire a good music producer is because they're like, say you have a 5-piece band, they're like essentially a sixth member, and they'll help you write riffs. Or if you can't figure out how to like make one riff go to another riff, they'll help you create something, or they'll come up with a background
Mhm.
sound, or they'll tell you to do a drum fill, or hey man, give me another fucking. They'll layer vocals over. Or they're helping you paint the picture. Like you're the artist. They're just giving you like the format on which to paint, and that's what like a good producer or like good like script writer, like editor will do for you. Like, but the fact that he just takes the fucking helm on everything, which again, I get. Like, I'm somebody who's really, I'm in control of most things that I do. I understand that, but holy shit, man, how many more times are you gonna have to go like, all right, dude, like you did some weird shit here again. We get it, Like I feel like I'm gonna liken it. I'm gonna compare this to Joe Walsh's favorite band, Slipknot. Slipknot up until the last album. Slipknot up until the last album. It's pointed because they put out a new album the other day. My biggest gripe with Slipknot is they've never written one album. Like it's always like it's
Mhm.
typically say it's a 10-song album. They have 8 really good songs, maybe 7 really good songs, and then 3 just like all right, and like you might like them, but like think about the album as far as the way it goes in sequencing, and you go. Even the biggest fan can see, like, ah, man, maybe that, like the newest one, the first they kick off with that song Adderall. First off, you hear about a song called Adderall, you think it's gonna be fucking wild.
That's why I
And
did it. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just a
Yeah,
song.
they
It's
honey
like,
dick
Yeah,
people,
yeah.
I like it,
which
but still, it's
whatever.
weird. But it's weird. It's like
It's a weird
it's
Yeah.
like
track to
yeah.
open on.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like-
yeah. So that's what I mean by that. Like they're just known for just going like, all right, we're almost there, guys, and we're not gonna let you have it. Like so, like, whatever. Like again,
I will
I
even if
think
I
the
gave
only-
that new album a 10, even if I gave that album a 10, I still would agree with this because it's true.
Yeah,
It's true.
it's just tough because like with Lords
It
of Salem,
doesn't work for some people.
with
you know?
Lords of
But
Salem in
sorry.
particular. No, you're good.
Yeah. No, you're good, man.
How would people wrap up something like that? Because it's a lot of like weird imagery for the sake of being weird.
Mhm.
And then like weird things get brought up. When does it get even mentioned that she's a crack addict until she does it? Because the
There's hints
Herman
of
mentions
showing,
it.
Yeah, they like hint to her having an addiction problem, but yeah, they
Yeah.
also show her drinking. I think
Yeah,
at one point. So,
which
like,
they show her drinking. So why would they be? It was just,
Well, no, some people who have addiction issues do drink
I know,
here and
yeah,
there.
yeah, some people can. Yeah,
Some people can.
Yeah.
Some people can. It's like that vice does not affect them.
Right. So it's just weird to me that
Yeah.
like they barely mention it until Herman's like, "Are you sober?" And it's like for us, for me, it was like, "Yeah,
Right.
like booze, not." And then here she's going to a den and grabbing crack, and it's just like,
yeah, that was weird.
that was
Yeah.
weird,
fucking weird.
and it just came out of left field. And I was like, all right, so she's doing crack now, and then the clearly obvious Sanderson sisters are here to like. I'm sorry, those are just the Sanderson sisters. Like, I say what you want, but dude, what
That's
else?
funny. I didn't even connect
What
that.
else are
That's
they
really
supposed
funny.
to be? One looks just like Bette Midler, the really annoying British one, or like
Yeah.
the one with the red hair. One looks like Sarah
The
Jessica.
Sanderson sisters are Hocus Pocus.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've never seen it. I have no idea.
One looks like Sarah
I
Jessica
literally have no
Parker, the lady with the long blonde hair. The other one doesn't look like the lady with the black hair, but she still kind of resembles her a little bit, like derpy and goofy. So it's just like, all right, they're just Sanderson sisters from which is fine.
Witch of Eastwick has three ladies, one black hair, one blonde, one red hair, and that movie's great.
Well, I'm just
Jack Nicholson's
saying it for
really
something
good
that
in the movie.
just came out too.
And now
like
that's a movie that does a really weird fucking twist too, but it does it well. And you go,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
giant red devil.
Yeah.
This is
You
great.
know-
Like
yeah.
Yeah. See, I don't
That's a good
mind.
movie.
I was thinking the same thing about that with her and her drug addiction, but I was fine with it because I think it was just maybe they could have hinted what she was addicted to a little bit early on, but
Yeah.
you don't need to hammer it into people because you're seeing her decline.
All they
Because
had to do.
it's definitely an amazing. I was rewatching this. I was like, holy crap, that's a very good metaphor for like what addiction does to people. And you don't need to do too much because she's isolating people she cares about. They're worried about her. They're trying to like even near the end when they try to help her escape the witches, she chose to go towards them instead. That's almost like
Right.
choosing a drug addiction over
There's a easy couple ways they could
your
have at
family
least
and friends.
brought it in first to like mention it, just so it's like, bam, here's crack, and it's like, oh, all right, whoa, hold on. So there's a couple ways. The hand reading part, when the redhead Sanderson is reading the palms, she could have been like, "Oh, you've had a problem with addiction before, haven't you?" And like that's it. They could have
That's
just
a cool idea. I like that.
They
I
could have
like
just
that.
mentioned it. Or when the book guy is researching Sherry Moon, Heidi, what's her name? I don't know.
Heidi.
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 Okay.
You're right.
Yeah. So good. When he's researching Heidi on that Wikipedia page, dude, just mention it. Like, just like you know, like that trope
Yeah,
when
so
like
in fact, she's a radio host. People would
yeah.
know about personal shit if you are
Yes.
some form of local celebrity. You know.
So it's like, you know, like the old trope of like whenever there's something wrong, the kids got to go to the library and look at the old newspapers and like they pan over every single thing. Just do that. Just like a quick pan of she went to rehab for crack. Boom. That's it. Just so
that's a tiny like gripe or whatever.
No,
it's very small, but it's good. It's a good point though.
Something like that. I get your point. I am also in the same vein of like you don't need this. I don't think everything needs to be spelled out for everybody.
Right.
And I think a lot of modern movies have that problem. They try to do that. They don't respect the audience's intelligence. And I personally don't need everything spelled out for me. I also don't like when fucking things just end and like if it ends in the right way, I'm okay with it. But like a lot of the
hate the
times it's like
Munsters
a
then.
cop out, meaning like you what?
I said, oh, so you hate the Munsters then?
Oh, I'm not even gonna get into that yet because that's gonna be that's gonna be rough. I'm trying to start with a positive because again, the Lawrence of Salem thing, two quarters of the movie,
Yeah.
2/3 of the movie rather. I actually really enjoyed. I gotta be honest. I thought it was fun.
Where is that percentage that fell for you? Like what scene started it for you?
I'm trying to remember.
Crack.
It was really like when essentially when she got locked in. Like it
yeah.
started getting real weird right around the like when she shows up and her face is all picked at and shit. Like that doesn't happen in one night. So that was kind of irritating to me. So like little details like that, like this was supposedly all happening in like a day or two.
Yeah,
it was like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday,
like,
Thursday. I think it ended.
She went on a fucking 2-month bender, like, and hadn't seen something like, and her face is all picked at, like, it's not.
I mean, you could
details,
go with
right?
the supernatural part with that. You could, but I get what you're saying. Yeah.
I don't think that's what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be that she fell back into crack or whatever, heroin, or whatever the fuck she was doing. Like it's supposed to show you like what happens when you are a drug addict. Like that happens. Like heroin addicts will like pick at their skin because they feel ants and shit crawling into their skin.
Yeah.
So like I think it was supposed to show you like how bad she fell into it, but like that doesn't happen in a fucking day. It doesn't.
Right.
It just doesn't. You know what I mean? So like that kind of a detail for me goes, all right, I get what you're trying to show people, how bad it is.
Again, a little bit
certain
detail you could add. Yeah.
Yeah, you just went too far. Like again, this comes back to if you have a decent editor that'll go, hey Rob, maybe don't make her look like she's been fucking doing rocks for a year and a half. You know?
Or
like, maybe actually make her look like she's been a day. Like
or just show her doing stuff to herself while she's in isolation. Too.
Or give a little montage of that. Or like I don't know.
Like the little details. That's it, man. Like that's all.
Like
really
all of a sudden she opens up her fucking door and she's just like. Her face is all fucked up already. Like she's been doing drugs a day, man. That shit don't happen.
She looks like a living dead girl.
No, Jesus Christ.
Nice.
Oh wow. Good job, Ben. Good job. Touche.
And I'm out of here. Bye.
That's humor right out of the Munsters too. That type of cheesiness.
Yep, there was a living dead girl sign in Munsters.
Oh, I missed it.
When Nosferatu and Lily are walking by.
So I mean, I think right around when like the. Oh, sorry, that's under my eye.
Don't take
when the doctor shows up to try to get in, right when like the witches that are in the house kind of start revealing the fact that they're witches. The first time she hangs out with them,
annoying.
They didn't show that, or like they just made us. That was
I like them.
There's just a lot of really weird changes. Like they just all of a sudden are evil. Like they didn't show any transition there, and then like the doctor shows up to try to talk to them. And again, I get that.
And fuck your brains.
Clearly trying to isolate her.
That's one of my favorite. That's one of my favorite scenes. Actually,
I love that part.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? Fuck her brains?
Yeah.
Wax them with the pan.
I see. That's one of my favorite scenes. But I agree with you though. See, I love that scene. I agree. Like there's a certain. This whole movie's about escalation, but then you don't escalate certain other parts properly. And I agree with that actually.
I mean, realistically too, like. Once the fucking end happens, like really where it goes really off the deep end, like when the switch happens, is when they go to the fucking concert and she's like all cracked out. Like once Herman goes and gets her out of there, that whole fucking scene is just I don't know, man. It was too far for me. Like it was too. It just went the wrong way. I mean, again, look at a movie like The Witch, right? Which is a witch movie, right? So
Yeah.
look at a movie like The Witch, which
Or
has a weird
Hellbender.
ending.
Which?
Hellbender. Yeah, right.
Hellbender. Yep.
Great
Hellbender's
movie.
ending was a little weird, but I also kind of like.
Midsummer is almost got a
go,
little
I
witchy
like that.
feel to it.
Honestly,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I thought
kinda.
Midsummer was watching.
I mean,
this a little bit.
Yeah.
Hereditary is somewhat witchcraft,
Mhm.
kind of too. Like it's more
Hereditary's
like
ending is amazing.
yeah, like Satanism. But
I gotta,
you know,
I gotta rewatch Hereditary again.
I
See.
did.
I was
did
talk
like
about it
4 or
actually
5
with
months
you
ago.
guys.
It's one of my favorite movies ever at this point.
I think we should talk about it.
Yeah, that movie's really good to talk about because you can go really in depth with a lot of like the scenery. Like the second time you watch that movie, you see a lot of things.
Yeah.
And if you watch somebody like break down the movie on what like the imagery means, like when you start piecing it together, you're like, holy shit, I didn't see that thing in literally the corner of the room.
Mhm.
Because your fucking focal point is right in the center of the screen, so you're not designed to look for other things, you know. Yeah, but again, like I just it's the whole like the theater concert scene was just too much for me, and then it starts doing like weird Rob Zombie shit, and all of a sudden she's got a crawfish baby. I don't know, man. Like the whole thing was just it just got too wacky for me, man. Like and then it's not is it the fucking worst thing I've ever seen? No, but at the same time, man, could it have been a lot better? Yeah, because the end didn't match the rest of the tone of the movie. Like I liked the pacing of the movie.
Yeah. So a big the reason why we watched it, I think, is and I think Joe even said it too. On this show, if people watched it, they know that I've hated this movie. Every time it's brought up, I'm like, this movie's fucking trash. It's terrible. So we were like, all right, let's rewatch it. I actually don't hate it anymore. I think it's bad. It's bad. I will sit here and tell you right now, it's bad. But you know what? Watching another movie made me really change my perspective on this with another Rob Zombie movie.
I'm gonna get into that too, so we should.
Yeah, I want to dive deep. Two more quick things, and I get into with Salem before we do that. Yeah, but this is awesome.
Real quick too. Speaking of which, I watched the next movie first. So I watched the Netflix movie first this week. Then I watched this. So that also might have been why I didn't think it was bad. I don't know. I mean, I looked at it pretty objectively though, because he's always made weird choices. Like House of a Thousand Corpses. I don't like the end of that movie. That gets a little too fucking weird. Devil's Rejects actually is one of that's probably the only. The Devil's Rejects is probably. Joe, what's that last album that came out from Slipknot? The one from last year or 2 years ago.
The great chapter.
Yeah. We're not your kind.
No,
that one. Yes.
We're not your kind. Yeah. So that's probably the only album, even the first one, that I can truly just put on. I don't have to skip a single song. So I got to be honest. I would imagine I would like to probably throw up and say Devil's Rejects is probably his "We Are Not Your Kind." Like it's the only one I can watch all the way through. That's a really cool
description. I like that.
Yeah, it's the only one that goes. Oh, I don't have to skip.
I don't know. Halloween's pretty good.
I rewatched it recently, and there's a couple scenes where I'm like, Rob Zombie, you just
like the excessive R-word scene.
The excessive like swearing in general stuff. I don't know why it bothers me as much as it does. When I was younger, it didn't bother me, but now I go, man.
My thing is, why is it?
13,
I'll ask this.
Oh, they said fucking dick. And
why is it acceptable in Devil's Rejects but not in Halloween?
Because it's just the way they're presented.
Oh,
that's
why?
That movie.
Because I love Devil's Rejects. My favorite. It's one of my favorite movies probably ever. But
here's the thing with that whole comparison with like Rob Zombie's Halloween and John Carpenter's. Now, of course, you're talking to the Halloween fan here, and I love the requels, and I would defend kills to any purist, no matter what, because it's what happens.
Idiot, fucking idiot.
What happens?
Bald motherfucker.
Wow. Oh wow. So what happens? Like people are used to, again, with a certain violence. The newer ones, they like the atmosphere of the older one, and then of course, they like the suburban feel of the older one. They don't like the hillbilly feeling that this has, but that's Rob Zombie's voice. You're giving a hillbilly. This is a hillbilly Michael Myers. I love that. I think that's cool.
It's rude and crude.
No, so
I can separate them and
love the backstory.
Yeah, all the backstory is really cool.
I love the fact that he gave the backstory. A lot of people, I've
Yeah,
heard a lot
me
of people
too.
bitch about that.
We
I
don't
like
need a
it. I
backstory
like seeing
for
that
the other
for you.
Michael Myers. The other Michael Myers is supposed to be that pure evil. This Michael Myers is supposed to be
Yeah.
that serial killer stuff that Rob knows,
Yeah, I think it's just they're just little there's just little things about Halloween that I still actually I defend that movie all day long. I really really enjoyed that movie.
I like
Rob's
Halloween.
first
Yeah,
one.
I
Yeah.
think
I
I think
even
it's
like
good.
the second one. It's not the best movie ever, but I like a lot of the imagery in that movie.
Yeah,
I get
Yeah.
what he
me
was doing
too.
with the pale horse thing, where a lot of people hate it. And that's something that a lot of people like. The way I'm saying about Lords of Salem, where it gets too wacky at the end. A lot of people say that about Halloween too. They're like, "Oh, what the fuck is with this pale horse thing?" Well, if you really do some research,
Yeah,
I
if you
get the
know
pale horse
it.
thing death. Like, I get the whole. I get what
Ha-
he was going for. You know.
Halloween 2 is pretty much his Halloween 4 and 5. He's doing that connectivity in what
Yeah.
what insanity does to people and in trauma, family trauma. The Halloween imagery in Halloween 2 of all the illusions of the Pumpkin Kings and all that, I love that.
I gotta
That
rewatch
goes-
it. It's been so long.
That's Michael Myers' inner child. He loves Halloween. Some people think it's him having mommy issues. No, it's not. He sees his mom as a spectrum because he loves Halloween. He sees his family on Halloween night. That's where he broke. And I love that imagery. And I also agree with you. It's like it still goes off the beam where it's like Halloween 2. Rob's Halloween 2 is not a good Halloween movie. It's a good horror movie. And it's a good Halloween themed movie, but it's not a good Michael Myers movie,
Yeah.
But even though I say that, I still defend what he did with it, to some degree.
Now,
you know?
really quick,
Well, I mean,
with sorry.
Go ahead, Ben.
No, I was just
No,
gonna
yeah,
ask about Lords of Salem. Where the hell was Sid Haig? He was in the movie. Where was
I think he was one. I think he was in the I think he was in the past because I was looking for him too.
Yeah,
I think he was
he's credited
probably yeah.
like in like the flashbacks with the
in-
witches.
I think so, and Michael Berryman too. I think so. I
Oh.
have to rewatch it just for that.
Yeah. Well, Ed, say your whatever you think. I'm sorry. I'll look where
No,
it
I was gonna say something else about the Halloween movie just to kind of add to it, but we don't. It doesn't really matter. This isn't about.
That was great. We're
Halloween
doing a
movies. This
quick
is
little
about-
span through of like his
Yeah,
career.
I mean, we're talking about two
fun.
Rob Zombie movies, so we can talk about other ones. And yeah, what's the Devil's Rejects sequel? I didn't like that.
Three
I
from
thought that
Hell.
movie was-
Three from Hell.
Yeah, I thought the movie was ass.
I like it.
I thought that was a lot of people do. I thought it was unnecessary.
Joe, you're right.
I
he
was
was in
talking-
the past.
He was. Yeah, I was talking about with my writer friends last night. If you take away the scenes like the prison break and you take away that stupid house scene,
With the clown or whatever.
yeah, it's terrible. The prison scene with Baby and then the scenes in Mexico, I love. I that Baby scene in the prison is probably the best scene in the entire movie.
Yeah, I agree.
And actually, what my friend's like, he's like the whole movie should have been in the prison. I'm like, that would be kind of sick, like to see the Devil's Rejects in the prison instead of like just rehashing the same
That would
shit
have made a
over and
lot
over.
more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have made. And I mean, not for nothing. Like the other problem with that is like, correct me if I'm wrong, but at the end of Devil's Rejects, don't they get like shot to hell by the fucking
Yeah,
police?
like obliterated and by
Yeah,
Like,
like
that's
Free
the other
Bird's
problem I
playing.
had with the movie. Like, it was literally an unnecessary movie. It was just a way for him to like make a movie with his wife and Sid Haig again, who I
Yeah.
think was dying. Right? Wasn't that his
Yeah.
last movie?
Yeah, I think that's where I respect it because I think he wanted to give him one more role as because that's like still a great scene with Sid Haig in jail. Like it's almost like a
That's
well,
Baldwin
I think
scene.
that was-
It's awesome.
yeah, it's a
I've
great
heard
scene.
that was a part of the like he had to rewrite a lot of things because Sid died during the making of the movie. So like I know
Something
that
like
much.
that.
So that's the only reason why I give that movie even a little bit of a pass because
I like it actually.
who knows what it would have been if Sid Haig stayed alive the whole time.
That's
Yeah.
We don't know.
That's one of the more annoying Sherry Moon roles for me. It is just that one. Normally she's a little more controlled as Baby, but it's just for some reason, dude. The Three from Hell, just oh my god, she was so brutal in that movie. Especially towards the end. I think maybe like he saw like Harley Quinn and how popular she was, and it's like, hey, let's try to have her do that, and just like over the top. This definitely isn't the most over the top she's been. Wink. And it really didn't annoy me the most. I promise. But and then there's also 31, which by the way, I really like 31.
I don't hate 31.
It's a decent movie.
I think 31 is great.
Movie, but it's
That's
fun.
another
It's
one.
a fun Halloween movie.
It's just fun.
That's another
It's
one.
stupid.
It is a fun Halloween movie.
Yeah.
That's another one that lost steam near the end.
Do you want to
You know,
see
like-
a little
Yeah.
person
No, it
be
does. Yeah,
a
it really does.
Nazi guy? here's your
that was-
movie.
Some of the that was great.
Also,
Speaks Spanish. He speaks Spanish, and he's a little Nazi.
thank you. That's the first
Great.
movie where
It's
he
hilarious.
really
That's
let.
so-
What the hell's the guy's name? He's the new guy from Three from Hell.
Richard Drake. He was
Richard
also,
Drake.
yeah.
He's the
He's
bad guy
phenomenal.
in 31, and like, dude,
Rich-
he's fucking awesome in that movie.
Pisses me off that they didn't utilize him even better near the end. And
And
he's still great.
yeah,
What he did near the end, but it's still like.
and they didn't
could've been so
utilize
much
him
better.
enough in Mandy. God damn it! He's,
Andy's
I
great.
thought that was enough.
No, I know.
for
He
him
should have
because
been in it more.
He should have been
Rip
more.
my shirt.
Mandy's a good movie.
I love
Well,
Mandy.
I agree with that one. See now that's where it's weird when you try to like describe what you like when you're doing like this. It just shows you truly what opinions can be, because like
Well,
I
it's
know
art
some
it's an
people
art
that-
subjective thing. Yeah.
very subjective. Like Mandy is real fucking out there and real fucking wacky,
Love
and
it.
there are people that fucking despise that movie, and
Yep.
I will plant my flag in that ground every fucking time. That movie's
Yep.
great. I think that movie is visually stunning. I think it's one of the
Yeah.
most spectacular movies I've ever watched, as far as like watch it to look at.
Well, then why
Yeah.
don't you like Lords of Salem?
It's amazing.
It's the same thing.
No, see, that's the thing. The majority of Lords of Salem, if you listen to me there, Ben, I enjoy
I'm being
it.
the
I like the
internet
way it
here.
looks.
Sorry.
I like the grainy the graininess of it. I liked a
Mhm.
lot of the way this movie was shot. I liked the setup of her apartment building. I liked like the
Mhm.
old school like wallpaper. It almost looks like velvet. You know, like I liked a lot of that stuff.
Kinda
There was
like
a
the
lot about
shining
this movie that I
carpet.
really enjoyed. Yeah, there was a lot of it. Her apartment layout, I didn't quite understand. I don't think you're supposed to be, but if you really think about that movie, I'm not going to tell you to go rewatch Lords of Salem, but if you ever watch it again, trying
I
to
would.
figure out how her
So-
apartment's set up. It just doesn't make any sense. Like when you walk in, like I know a lot of those old buildings, they don't have a lot of room, and if there's that many apartments in that building, that building isn't all that big, and those rooms are normally smaller because things that were built back then, people were smaller, so like everything's built a little more.
Yeah, look at the
confined,
Jeffrey
you know?
Dahmer apartment. Like actually, like from the
Yeah,
show.
well, that was a different animal, but like her apartment's really like her bedroom was over here, but she's got a living room, but then she's got like it's the whole layout.
And her kitchen's
looks
kind of
fine.
weirdly attached.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that was a design choice by him to kind of make you feel disoriented, because
That's
it,
what.
it
Yeah.
doesn't.
That's just, yep.
You know what I mean? Like literally, her apartment doesn't make sense. Like the way they shoot it, the rooms don't connect right to me. I don't know. It's just something that I noticed. It was really weird to me, like the way everything. I don't know. I could be
Yeah.
overthinking things, right? Like this is just the stuff I was picking up from watching the movie.
I will throw my one final thing real quick, so you
Yeah.
guys want to move on with it. I agree with a lot of
Yeah.
especially what Ed's saying. I enjoy the graininess, the build up. I could watch this movie just because of the way it's shot, like over and over again. I could watch it just because of that. That's enough for me to
Yeah.
rewatch it. I love the characters. I love her relationship with Herman and I don't remember Ken Foree's character. That's funny, but I don't
Joe
remember.
Grizzly
I think
bitch.
his name was Herman too. I think they were both Herman.
You think they're both Herman? That's
It
awesome.
was three H's. There
oh,
was three H names.
Yeah, it's Heidi, Herman, and
I'm almost positive.
Hey,
it was
I
Herman.
got the Internet Movie Database up for this reason because I knew I was gonna forget. Ken Foree, where are you, Kenny? He's Herman.
yeah, Herman and Herman. Wow, look at you. I would never remember
that's
that.
hilarious. So I love the relationship. I love that Ken Foree was almost like he had a very big time like fathery figure to them to some degree, and they were like, I don't want to say brother and sister because that's almost ancestral, but because they almost
Yeah,
they had this like sexual tension between the two. Like, are they dating? Are they not dating? Is it just because he has a crush on her and she just, plays along with it? Because you see people do that sometimes. And I love the illusions, the colors, like the because again it goes with that like old witchy satanic stuff. We always see like little pop ups of like things. A lot of old nudity, old lady nudity, which is really funny. Like like we're in the
Mhm.
kitchen, that that burned lady in the kitchen. She's like, oh my god. Like,
Yeah, I thought that
a lot
was
of
really
cool shit.
cool. That was like
yeah,
it's not.
there were a couple little spots like that.
It's not like copying Insidious, right? Where you get the red man, like the red guy. What's his name?
right.
I don't whatever they call him. But like you get like little stuff of that, and I personally love shit like that. Like
Yeah.
you get the creepy shots of like room number 5, and then like you see the lady in it, or you see like the doctor-esque kind of guy inside. And I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Shit like that is awesome. Like when she's standing there and like, and it says Jesus saves, and like she's like reaching out and like
a lot of wild stuff.
I loved that. Like that. Like actually, that was really cool stuff. But
that's enough for me to keep watching it too.
Yeah.
So like now when you get to where you guys talk about, I agree with the witches. Like I love them. I thought they're great. The three Sanderson sisters or whatever. And then when you get in, and I loved the author who was trying to figure things out. Loved him throughout the whole entire thing. And I felt bad we got his face
Yeah, I liked
bashed
him.
for
I
Fry
thought he
Pan.
was a good movie.
He's a
Super
great
fun
character. Yeah. So once you got to the crazy shit, and that's what lost me when I first saw this movie too in the theater. I was like, okay, this is cool. This is cool. It's cool. What the hell is this? Like, like it left total left field. But I love the exact ending, and that drives me nuts because that build up could have been better to lead to like the way they kind of worshipped their sacrifice. I loved the fact that it was like a mass suicide. I love the radio at the end of the movie, the credits where it explains what happened. I love that a lot. I forgot that they did that. The whole crawfish thing, I think that was all a metaphor for her bloodline. I don't know why I don't know why the thing itself, like everything about the birth, everything they talk about, the stinking, everything from her bleeding between the legs, some scenes, and they keep, saying these nasty things about, like a woman's anatomy and stuff like that. It was just because of like her bloodline. She is the direct descendant of the man who ordered the execution. So I think there's a lot of metaphors to that, to like that hatred and that revenge and whatnot, and then but also like that kind of like weird, like sacrificial lamb thing. I don't know. It was I like that. I like that a little bit. I like where it led to that. But then like again, I'll go with that he could have done so much better to lead to that punchline. So the payoff.
They just could have stitched it to better. They could have stitched it together a lot better. Is really what it comes down
That's
to.
a great. So that's it. I'll give the rating later.
Yeah.
That's all.
So it turns out what we learned so far is Lords of Salem not his worst movie. Is what I would say.
Yeah, because Munsters is.
Munsters now.
Munsters is
Oh
easily.
boy.
You guys go off because I liked it. I didn't love it. I liked it, but there were parts I was like, okay, this is a little much. But there's a lot of humor I think a lot of other people would get. This is like
I think
a little
this
too
movie
dry
was
to me. A little too dry.
Yeah, I think this movie was aimed at little kids, and I don't think I know a single little kid that would laugh at this movie.
I don't think kids would get that. It's like dry adult humor.
This thing is the worst. It's Joe. I'm going to tell you something right now. I don't want to look you dead in the screen or the face. This movie makes Texas Chainsaw Massacre look like a fucking Emmy, Oscar-winning.
It's true. He also texted me that too.
5-star.
I mean, it's two different things, but I would never make that comparison. But
no. I almost want to take back any gripe I ever had with Texas Chainsaw Massacre because of how bad this thing is. Fucking bad. This thing is bad. It's not good. There's nothing redeeming about it. It's not funny. It's not fucking.
But, yeah, that's
I can sit here. I can sit here and tell you to everybody, like this one's unique. I don't know very many people the one or two people that I've heard that like this movie, I question their sanity because they fucking like I really do because if you think this is funny in any way, you're out of your mind. Nothing.
Well, okay, so I will throw this out there. I actually chuckled a few times through. There's a lot of humor I like.
I did once.
When it ended?
I did once. No.
I thought
did once.
The ending was okay.
Herman's first his first stand-up set or whatever. There were like one or two jokes, and I went, that's ironic. And then I was it. Like that was about as much as God. I was belly laughing, which that humor isn't for me. But my issue is I don't know who it's for. Here's my thought process on this movie. Okay, if what I think, and here is Rob Zombie and why he needs a fucking handler from now on if he continues directing, because I don't know if I'll ever watch any of his shit again. This is bad.
You're funny.
And I don't
believe that one
really
bit.
Bad. Like anything new, I don't know, man. And if I do, I'm gonna be going with like bated breath because goddamn. Here's my thought process on this movie. This movie felt like he wrote, like this was almost like a giant sizzle reel for him to try to get a TV show again. or try to get a TV show made again. Like it feels like 4 to 5 separate 20-minute episodes of the Munsters slammed together.
Can I say
And
something real quick with that? It's funny.
sure,
I thought the same thing, and I think this would work 10 times better if it was like that.
if it was a TV show in 20-minute segments like it's clearly written,
Yep.
I wouldn't have had a problem with it. I wouldn't have. It still would have been my thing, but I wouldn't have hated it.
Yeah.
I hate this movie because I was forced to sit there for almost 2 hours and watch
it
something.
didn't
that
work
wanna
as a
blow my
movie.
Yeah, it was
brains
so
out.
long
Yep.
too.
It does
Oh
not
my
work as a
god.
movie.
It did not need to be. It did not be
This
that long.
fucking dude at like 45 minutes, I checked the time and couldn't believe there was still an hour left. Like I couldn't fucking believe it felt
Colleen,
so long.
she didn't like it. She was watching it. Like, I'm laughing and stuff. Like whatever. This is corny, but I'm enjoying it to some degree. And then she goes, "This is still going." I'm like, "Yeah, it's a little too long."
Oh
did
my
not
god,
like
dude.
She didn't get
Kayla
it.
had the same problem. She's
She
like,
didn't
this
like
fucking
it.
thing. So she fell asleep. She's like, this thing is terrible.
Yep.
I just, it's to me, it seems the way, dude. Literally, it's shot worse than like. It reminded me of like some of the afternoon Fox TV shows when we were in the 90s, like the Beetleborgs. It reminded me of
Yeah.
that. Like, look up Beetleborgs, Ben or Joe, whoever, and literally look at like the schlocky
Oh, I know
monsters that were in
Beetleborgs.
it.
I watched Beetleborgs
This
as a
is
kid.
shot just like it. It's so fucking weird. Like, look up Beetleborgs and look up like the Elvis like ghoul character and like this
I can
movie
hear you.
and like
Get more coffee.
no, you're good. You're good.
No,
I get you speaker.
how dare you?
Yeah, it's just oh man, I think I don't know what I was expecting out of it. I guess I wasn't expecting much, and like the trailer was rough, but I'm like, I'm still gonna give it a shot.
I was
But,
expecting
like,
not
as
to
soon
get the
as-
trailer the whole movie. That's what I was expecting, and then I did, and it's like, god
Yeah.
damn it! It like, dude, it was annoying. Like I hated, like guys, you really didn't need to have Herman do the laugh like maybe every 2 seconds. You just didn't. It was a thing. Didn't need to do it.
I think that's part of my other problem is like
Grandpa was the best
literally
part.
figuratively, literally, and
See, I
any
love
other
the
fucking.
grandpa. I thought he
I
was
thought
funny.
Grandpa
He was
was
the funniest
great.
part. Yeah.
No, Grandpa was the best part of the movie. The
Yeah, I
Grandpa
agree.
was the best part of the movie.
I agree.
He was the only one that felt like he was supposed to be there.
Herman
the only one
actually
that
made me
felt
want
like-
to jump off a bridge and die.
Well, because
The-
you know, with
here-
with him,
what I was
because
just
he
gonna
was like
say
he
is-
stayed in one scene. This is where I go with you on like too much jumping.
The problem with Herman is it's not Fred Gwynn. Like you're not going to
Yeah.
replace that guy. And I get that you can't completely like. It'd be like if Typo Negative tomorrow decided to try to go on without Peter Steele. You're never going to be able to like. You're not going to find somebody that sounds like
Well,
I don't
that.
that's
think
like
that's a great-
Pantera if they decide to go on without Diamond Vinny.
Wow, that's a whole different animal. That's a whole.
Okay, all
That's
right.
a whole
I
different
had this.
animal.
Probably the only thing I'm going to debate here. I would never use that comparison because I think what's his name, Jeff Daniel Phillips. I probably said his name backwards. I think he was great as Herman, but there were things that were overdone. Where I agree with you on that. Like it's the same thing as like Jackie Earle Haley did a great job as Freddy Krueger. It's just there's things in that movie that made it bad. Same thing with him as Herman. I think he was great. I got a kick out of it, but it was over.
Actually, yeah, you're right.
It was overdone.
That
It was
go with
overdone.
Haley was fine.
It was overdone. What?
No, I
See,
was-
yeah. He
you
was.
threw me
he
for a
was
spin for a
for
second
me-
with
For
Jackie Earle
me, he
Haley.
was one of the. I personally felt the Sermon Monster was one of the worst parts of the movie. I didn't like it at
Yeah.
all.
No,
So
I didn't like his voice. I thought his voice was insufferable. Like the
Yeah,
cracking, like the high pitch. I thought it was hard to listen
I-
to. It was. I couldn't do it.
I
man.
thought he
I tried, I really did.
have weird humor, man.
he looked
But
good.
I like all the humor though. But some I was just cracking. I was just like, this is so corny. But I got a kick out
The
of it.
green didn't bother
Yeah.
me. I
love the colors.
it being in
The colors of
color.
this whole movie was
It
great.
being in color didn't
Except for
bother me.
Rob Zombie.
It was a little too drenched in neon lights, but whatever.
Ooh, drenched.
No,
No, so
it was
again,
drenched,
even that, I'm gonna point back to.
No, that's a
I
good
think
word.
This was supposed to be a
I love
fucking
it.
TV show. I don't think
which
this
is
was
fine.
supposed
Yeah,
to be a movie.
that's fine.
I really
But
don't.
the,
It's not.
the sad part is
it
it's a
doesn't look
movie,
like a
and I
fucking
have to
movie
treat it
at
as
all.
such. But
Yeah, I mean, oof.
I'm sorry. Herman was not the worst. Lily was the worst. She was fucking terrible.
She was rough, but I'm used to her being bad at acting now. Like, so it didn't bother.
I'm
me.
not
Like,
like. God damn it!
her acting is really. This might be her worst acting role, but she still wasn't. I didn't think she was the worst.
Why was she
my problem
so
was-
rubberized here?
as far as like Herman's look, the look was all right.
I thought he
It
looked
was
great.
his voice. There was something about his voice I didn't like. I don't know what it was. He had like a weird kooky way. And then like I didn't like it at all, man. He sounded like a cartoon cat.
He's Heathcliff. Oh my God,
Yeah,
he's
like, what the
Heathcliff.
fuck? Yeah, it was so weird, man. Like, and again, like even the laughs as well. Because if you know the monsters, like those,
It's just he
yeah,
did it
like I get it.
constantly. Like I get it. Oh my, no,
Well, in the
I
TV
did the
show,
voice.
dude. But again, no, I'm gonna stand by this movie was this thing was created to be a fucking TV show. I'm guaranteeing it. I have no other. There's no other way. If Rob Zombie actually wrote this 100% as a movie to try to project this as a movie, he needs to stop writing movies because this it wasn't a fucking movie. It was four
All right,
and a half to five
let me call him.
individual or more 20-minute or so. Think about how long a TV, like a half-hour TV show is, right? It's really about 20 minutes of TV time, and then a bunch of time for
it's almost like a 5 hour long movie almost to some degree. If you do 10 episodes,
it's
20 minutes to 30 minutes per episode, 10 episodes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 5 individual episodes all crammed into one, and and it is even cut like that. Like all of a sudden they're on their honeymoon and scaring people. Like I would have liked to see more of that, but like that was just shot weird. Or like then I would have liked to see way more of the Transylvania thing. I actually would have liked to. Would have preferred if this movie was entirely in Transylvania without like them losing their house subplot thing.
So you know what? Yeah, that subplot was silly. Was not that great, but now because they did that, me personally is either A, stay in Transylvania the whole entire time, or B, they should have been in America early on in the movie and show them, because I think that's where they were in the show, was they were in America. I think it's almost like Adam's Family. Monsters are
they were in
very
California. Did the whole show.
Yeah,
now
so
I'm glad you just brought up
Isn't
Adam's
that
Family.
California? I don't remember.
Because Adam's Family is how you recreate something.
Yeah.
That first movie.
And I can't wait for Wednesday, so I'm very excited about Wednesday.
I watch it. I watch it a couple times a year.
I watch it all the time,
especially in Halloween.
And Family Values,
October.
it was great too. I love
Both of
the
them.
whole
Both of them
the
are
whole
great.
camp
I
scene.
love both of them. Barry Sonnenfeld figured out how to fucking make that, because the TV show was fun. It was what it was. It was very schlocky, kind of like the Munsters. And he took it and recreated it and made this perfect adaptation of a movie. Like it is fucking perfect. He found the perfect casting. He found the perfect setting. He like modernized it enough to put them in their weird spooky house,
God.
but then
Now
put
I
them
wanna
in
watch
fucking
it right
modern
now.
scenes.
I love that movie.
But
I can watch it
like,
constantly.
that is how you do that. That right there is how you. Or even fucking. There was a string of '90s movies, the Brady Bunch. I actually really enjoy those. The first one, anyways. Second one's okay. I really enjoy the fucking Beverly Hillbillies remake with Ernest or whatever. Vern. Oh God, whatever his
Vern
fucking last
Troyer.
name is. Yeah. No, that's the little
Vern
guy.
Troyer is Wee Man.
Vern Troyer's the little Wee Man.
Wee Man.
Not
Yeah.
Wee Man, you moron. That's the Wee Man is the guy from Jackass. You're talking Mini Me.
Mini Me.
Vern Troyer's Mini Me. Yeah.
What's the difference?
Anyways, my point is like
sorry.
That's how you do that. If you're gonna, you know what I mean? Like, so he could have done that. He really like the choices that he made. To me, it's as evident as anything I've ever seen before. That I think this is his way of like going, hey guys, let me get a shot. And then even weirder is like he got like $40 million to make this movie. Where is that money? I've never like
the set. The sets are insane in that movie.
It's the only thing I can think of, because like if you look at Transylvania
and the makeup,
there, yeah, but makeup for half the movie, yeah, like the Wolfman guy looks awesome.
Yeah,
fucking Dracula or Nosferatu looks really good. But then you look at some of the other guys and
loved him.
He was great. I liked him too.
Actually, I'll say that whole dating scene was one of my favorite, and I think that was
I'll be honest. I thought that was kind of funny too.
That's one of her best scenes.
Yeah,
that's her best acting.
I thought that was funny.
I was like, it was a good start.
I didn't think she was that bad.
Yeah.
When he's like talking about his rats and shit, I thought that was.
Yeah, see,
like, do I pet his nose?
That was episode 1. That was great.
That was right. So I'm actually, I'm agreeing on that, and that's what's so frustrating to me about this movie is he's got like little blips of like, hey, I see what you were doing there.
Yeah.
And if you had somebody going, hey, Rob, stop right there, stop it.
And he goes,
Just,
oh.
Don't grab another cookie. Stop the cookie.
I want
You
to
know
go
what I
to.
mean?
I want to go back to something you said because I thought of this, but you just like kind of you've been finalizing my thoughts there, and I love it. um, the Adams Family and a lot of those movies you mentioned, and I think Wednesday 13. Fucking, I keep mixing up the show with the band. Some people are like Wednesday 13. I'm like, oh yeah, you don't listen to that, but also I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
With Wednesday and all these other ones, I think what works with these new versions is they're modernized and they're put into today's time. And with
Yeah.
that type of joking, Rob, and I didn't know this till later on, he brought it all the way back to the 60s because that's his thing, 60s, 70s all the time. And I think he was doing a lot of 60s humor instead of bringing them into see how they work in modern day and stuff like that. I think that's one of the problems. I think this is way too, it feels outdated actually to some degree. You know, like, or maybe outdated is
Yeah.
not a great word, but you know what I'm saying? It just seems like it went
You know what it
too,
feels? It feels sanitized, and that's not the way he directs. It
yeah.
feels very sanitized. Like I get
Like,
that you're trying to make this is his attempt at making a family-friendly movie, and he failed miserably. Like he he could like if you watch cartoons nowadays, dude. The reason why modern, especially a lot of like Disney movies, are so good is because the humor in there is perfectly woven together for kids and adults, so
mm-hmm,
that they know that adults are forced to bring their kids to watch these things. So why would a parent want to sit there for an hour and a half
yeah.
while a little kid's going, "Ooh, sing another song"? It's because you have to have adult laden
I like the
fucking
songs.
jokes in
Yeah.
there.
Like, that's
And the
why.
problem, and go ahead.
No, and then to go with you on that, like, don't lose that, please. With like, and I'm not saying this to go off the conversation. I'm just using it as a comparison. We talk about Hocus Pocus real quick. Hocus Pocus 2 does that. It weaves into, I mean, it's supposed to be modern day, but it weaves into like modern jokes, like Alexa and vegan food. And it was, I thought I chucked out loud. I laughed out loud. Like they're almost like adult teenager jokes that work. You know, I thought it was really great. So like, I that's what made me think of when you said that. So. Oh, I thought Ed froze. Like, wow, he froze right on his lips.
I lost no, I lost my sound on my headphones for some reason. I don't know what the
Yeah,
fuck the fuck's going
and
on.
Lily was the worst, and
She
that.
was.
No,
I
it's
mean,
just
I didn't. She
it.
was, but I didn't like hate it. I could see where she was great, but I could see where it's like, all right, it's a little too over the top. Like,
Now
I got it.
I don't remember.
It just didn't work for me.
Did the brother exist in the show before?
I don't know.
I don't remember. I've only seen like a handful of episodes, and like I've actually watched them. I'm not like some young kid that's never even heard of the Munsters before.
You
But
know, I wish I gave myself more time. I almost watched a couple on YouTube just to see how the humor is in that compared to this. It'll be really interesting to
oh yeah,
see. And I think if we watch the show a little more, the older one, maybe we're gutting this a little. I mean, it
right.
doesn't mean you'll like it, but you know.
It's just I know Herman's more, not a fucking idiot in the show. I know that. Granted, I know, like, yes, he just came back to life. Yes, I know it, like, so you gotta take it with a grain of salt there. But in the show, Herman's a fucking dad at the end of the day, and like he actually knows what he's talking about, and like he's like a smart guy. Like he's an idiot, but it's like, oh my god, in this he's just a fucking moron. And it's like just at the end of the day, it's just like, I mean, Grandpa's right. Oh my god, I actually sided with Grandpa, and he's a dickhead. Like I said, he's the best part of the movie. He's the one that made the most sense. Well, except at the end.
Every scene with him was great. I thought even when they got all together near the end, he made those scenes. And I'm like, I'm trying to think.
We're playing musical chairs with the cameras for a second, but everything. Hey, guy, I promise, it's not a choice.
I think he's having issues with his.
Yeah, he can't hear it.
His Bluetooth, yeah.
Well,
Bluetooth
now we're cutting half, guys. It's all according to plan. It's our Rob Zombie cut of this video today. This is the Rob Zombie portion. We're in the third act anyway, so it makes sense. So you just got to roll with it. We promise it'll pay off. No, so my problem with like
I'm back. I don't know what the fuck happened.
My problem with the movie, for the most part, dude, that ending, the last like right when Elvira is in it, there, Cassandra Peterson. Like,
oh, that got fucking wacky
dude, like
as shit,
right
man.
when she gets there.
Look, I lost it. And I was bummed because I was so happy to see her.
It frustrates me because I didn't even realize that was Cassandra Peterson because I didn't recognize her behind like the makeup until you see her. But it just bummed me out because like, dude, the whole point of the movie, like they keep teasing is like, guys, you better not lose this castle. So it's like, obviously you're watching a kid's movie. He's gonna fucking lose the castle. So, it's just when he does, or when Grandpa loses it, he's mad for like fucking 2 seconds, and
Yeah.
Herman's just like, "Don't worry, I'll do it." And he's like, "Take a look at me." And it's like, well, they never mentioned that either. They never really
Yeah.
go into it. He's like, "We'll move to California." And
I
it's like,
hate
that's it.
saying this. I'm trying to refrain from saying this because I watch movies with no plots and I love that, but they still work better. Like this movie had no plot.
No, like,
nothing.
dude, nothing.
It was all
There's
even
nothing to keep it like a thing, and that's what bothered me. It's just 1 second Lily's dating somebody, fucking Nosferatu, which hell, if the movie was just that, the wacky shenanigans of Nosferatu and Lily, I would have loved it. And it's like,
That's really cool.
It was the best part of it. It was
And it's
probably
like,
the best part of the movie.
here's-
honestly.
Drake was awesome as the Nosferatu.
Yeah. Oh, he was awesome.
He was. Oh
Yeah.
my god, he's fantastic.
and it's like, here's creating Herman. All right, now that's gone. All right, now here's Herman being a rock star. Okay, now that's gone.
yeah,
Just
which-
keep like tossing
we're in the
ideas
60s.
away.
I don't know about that. The Rock was in the 60s too. On top of
Right.
it.
Well, granted, I actually loved the Herman look with the fucking leather jacket and the hat
Yeah,
and
yeah,
shit.
it was cool. Yeah.
I'll be honest, I liked it, but it's just, here's another idea, just out the window. Bye. Like, and it's like
He was supposed to be like a greaser. That was
Yeah,
50s
yeah.
and 60s.
when they got the pet dragon, Colleen's like, "What the hell is that thing?" I was like, "She goes, that lizard, that dragon." I'm like, "I think it's," and I had to go into my Joyism to make something up last time. I don't remember because I had a few beers too. I was like, okay, yeah, this is kind of stupid.
I thought it was the
whatever.
thing from Mexico that ate goats. That's what I thought. The
You thought it was a
chupacabra. I thought it was a chupacabra.
That's
but-
hilarious.
I don't know. I know they
Somebody
were.
does not know
they're
their
in
mythology.
I don't fucking know.
No.
Cryptozoology.
I
Cryptozoology
have no
by
idea.
Ben Sherman.
Yeah. Fine,
Dragon
I thought it was the
Chewbacca.
Mothman. Okay. God damn it. No, but yeah, it's just like then the ending happened, and like there was a little hint of like cuteness there because they have the party, and for
Yeah,
the most
I thought the
part,
party was funny.
I thought the party was fun. I don't
Because
think-
it led right into like the freak out scene.
Yeah.
That was the funniest to me actually. I loved it. I loved the scene when he realized that the humans.
yeah, it's just like
I thought it was great.
that was fine. It was fine. It's just like they just realized we're just gonna deal with it, yay! And like they all jump up
Yeah.
for joy. They might as well just looked at the camera and said, "Kids, this is what we learned today." Like a fucking it's like Sesame Street.
The more you know,
Yeah. Like that's what was actually bothering me is that like the movie thinks we're all stupid, and like the movie thinks we're all like just these fucking idiots. That it's like, no, like I want to watch like a movie at the end of the day. I don't want to just like sit here. But that was my thing. And Herman and Lily sucked. Bad, like really bad. I hated the chemistry between the two. It's weird, it's gonna make sense here, but like, of course, Rob Zombie is gonna make his wife look the best, and she has the best shots in the movie, like when she's creeping up and like she's being like pushed along, which I actually thought was really cool when she first gets introduced, or when Herman sees her for the first time, like in the castle, and like they do like the same shot, but it looks a little differently, and she's dressed a little differently. I like that too. She does look pretty good in the movie. She ain't hard in the eyes, but at the end of the day,
she incorporated the character, like certain body movements and stuff like that really well. I thought it was really cool. That's where her acting was really good with that. And then again, like some of her voice acting was okay. It wasn't terrible. Not all like I think that's what it is. You brought up a good point with the chemistry between her and Herman. There's some.
it was just
I think
weird. It's just
something didn't work, and I think
Yeah.
that made her acting look worse because it didn't work, and it made
And
Herman's acting look worse.
that's
where,
my
where
thing.
Ed couldn't do it.
and then I just feel like
Yeah.
Sherry was trying too hard to fit a square into a circle, and it's just like
Here's a question,
just
Joe, because
was
you
weird.
didn't mind it. And here's an honest question.
Yeah.
How would you have felt about this if you took the time to go to a movie theater, spend $15 for a ticket for you and Colleen each, whatever else you might have brought with you, and sat and watched this in a movie theater for 2 hours? Would you have felt the same, or do you think you gave it a little bit of a pass because you got to sit in the comfort of your home and watch it?
I would actually would be kind of cool to see this in the theater. So
God
I'll
damn
use
it.
this example. We seen, was it Knives Out?
the Ryan
Uh,
the Ryan Johnson movie, with Daniel Craig.
The British
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
people? I've heard that
Yeah.
was really
Oh,
good.
the
I haven't
movie's
seen it.
awesome.
Oh, well, that's funny. I hated that movie.
Interesting. I've heard a
What
lot
the
of people
fuck
love
is
it.
wrong with you?
So what the fuck's wrong with you? So
That's a great movie.
Well, I had a problem with it. I don't think I don't think it was good. I like this again. I have scenes I liked, but it was like there's left fields that didn't work for me, and Colleen didn't like it either. There's a lot of whodunits we love. We didn't like this movie too much. We didn't hate it. I'm being a little ball bust.
Yeah.
What Ben says, it's fine. I would
Yeah.
never watch again, but people loved it. And like,
Okay.
and me, I'm like, how the hell do people? I don't see what they see. So to go back to that question, it's one of those movies. Colleen and I used to go to theaters every year for Christmas, where we're here or in Rhode Island. That's
Yeah.
our thing. And
A
we
lot of
haven't done
people
it
like to do
we haven't done that because of the pandemic, obviously. We haven't done it because of that. That threw us off. So I spend money on that movie. I have no regrets because to me that's an experience. I would pay money and then sit there and see a shitty movie because I'm like, hey, I'm here, I'm doing it. But I'll never see it again.
If I paid $30 plus of my hard-earned money on a movie that sucked this bad, I would burn the fucking movie theater down. and I would laugh at the whole time.
Yeah.
I just.
I mean, but this.
Would you
this
laugh
is
like,
the-
There's a reason why this movie. There's a reason why this movie was optioned off to Netflix because as soon as Universal got it, they went, "Whoa!"
I mean,
Nobody-
people said the same thing. I don't know. I mean, I think anybody would treat Rob Zombie like that. It's there's a lot. I'm someone who can see all sides, so I don't think you're wrong or right. I think in some way you're probably right.
Well, no, that's what happened. This movie
think
was supposed to come out in theaters, and Universal went.
No, I know you're
"Nope,"
right about that.
and
No,
they optioned it off. And
I don't
went,
know
"Good
what else
luck,
I get with that.
Netflix.
I'm sorry.
Figure it out." Like that, and that just goes to show you, like, if a movie theater gives you $40 million, dude, Hellbender was made, I think, for less than $1 million, and that movie is
Yeah.
almost incredible. Like, it's incredible what they were able to do.
Yeah.
On top of that, like, look at the level of like craftsmanship they were able to put into that movie for like whatever they made it for, like $1 million, whatever it was. And that was like for Shutter or whatever it was for. Like, what the like? Just I think that's my problem is I look at this and I go, wait, you got how much? I mean, it shouldn't matter how much a movie costs, but at the same time it does though because
flip the role
Go
a
ahead.
little bit, right? And then like say
Yeah.
somebody, all right, what's to say you got somebody who loved Munsters and thinks you're out of your mind, and then but somebody who hates Hellbender and is thinks you're out of your mind, but they say the exact same thing you're saying, but the flip. That's just how it is sometimes, Like
no, that
some
doesn't
people,
make sense. I'm not.
no, like some people.
I think I get where you're trying to. Your point. I think I'm trying to understand what your point is. I'm not trying to dog like the aspect. Wait, here's my point. I
You
guess
can dog
what
right
I'm
now.
saying
You
is-
want?
No. So to try to like give a better perspective on it. Like, think about Terrifier or Terrifier 2, or think about any movie that costs no money, and like movies that are really, really well done, right? That you're like, well, how wasn't this in the theater? How wasn't this pushed? How wasn't this? You know what I mean? Like, because they're
Horror is
stupidly
always
incredible.
treated a
It's
certain
just
way.
horror. There's all kinds of things. I mean, look at there's just a lot of shit that comes out on fucking Netflix now that are really, really good movies. Or Prime has a lot of really cool movies on there now too. Like they're starting to make really cool movies now.
Yeah.
But I think it just goes to show like I think I'm just frustrated with the fact that like Rob Zombie keeps on getting all these chances and he just whiffs so often. And I think for me, I wasn't expecting much out of this because I had no stake in the game. I was
Right.
hoping it was going to be. I was hoping when I heard that he was making it that he was going to do more like an Adam Sandler thing, like he was going to try to modernize it, give it a little bit of a spin.
That's what I was hoping.
And I
too.
think that's what
Yeah.
I think that's the right way to say why I'm frustrated. Like, you got how much money to make a fucking like a major motion picture, and you give us 5 poorly edited episodes of a Netflix TV show. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't make any sense, man. Like, and if it was designed and put out as an episodic TV show, I would have had no problem with it. I wouldn't have been anywhere near as.
It would have
as
worked 10 times better as a show. Yeah, I was thinking
Yeah, it would have been way better.
throughout the entire thing, like last night, and then I had to rewatch the ending again this morning because I didn't fall asleep because I was bored. I was just fall asleep because I was tired because I'm getting old. But I scanned through everything, chuckled through some scenes I laughed at before. I'm like, wow, I still find this funny. And then, but then like. I was thinking the same thing this morning, so I'm trying to say sorry. I'm rambling, but like I'm with you on that. Like this will work so much better as a show, and I think people would have gotten the humor better because you're dragging it out. Because the way it's set up, it's a dragged out sitcom. Sitcoms are not supposed to be 2 hours long.
Yeah, 100%. But then on the flip side of that, then you look at what TV is able to do now. Look at fucking Game of Thrones when it was good. Look at Breaking Bad. Look at The Boys. Look at all these other phenomenal TV shows that are like, this couldn't be a movie because there's way too much
Right.
to be with that. Like, it's so much better as a TV show.
I
Like,
agree. Yeah.
So, and that's really where a lot of the like cinema stuff is going now. Is like, hey, if you want to tell a real story, man, turn it into a fucking TV show because you can take your time with it. You know.
You know what's I find brilliant right now? I can't wait to see how it ends. The Patient. Have you seen any of that with Steve Carell and
No, I've heard that.
No, I've heard it's really good.
That is talk about going back old school because it is you have to wait each week for a show for an episode, but each episode is like 20 to 30 minutes long. And that's it. And then so the fact you have that much time in an episode, and every episode is filled with tension, and it keeps boiling over each episode. It's and then when you put it together, it's going to be one big movie. Of course, it's like I think it's like 10 episodes, but it's like 20 to 30 minutes long. Because I goes like with that 4 to 5 hour range. You know, like 1 and 2, put that together, that's about 5 hours long. That's pretty much one big like TV show to some degree. And but each episode, man, the way the tension is for just those 20 to 30 minutes, it's so well done. At least I think so. You know, so I goes. I'm just going with you. Like that's where you like go with the whole.
I wish I had your patience. I can't do episodic.
And that's
no,
what's waiting.
I wait for it to be done.
I can't do it.
Depends.
I do the same thing.
Depends. Yeah.
It depends on what it is. So, like The Boys, for instance, like I don't give a fuck.
Boys, I can't wait. Yeah,
I love that. I love that show.
Yeah.
But like this, The House of the Dragon, I'm not watching it until it's done. Once it's done,
I think I'm doing the same thing.
I'll watch the whole thing.
I haven't time to watch it. I think I'm doing the same thing.
Apparently,
I like Walking Dead now.
But...
I still like Walking Dead, but I don't want to sit each week through it. I'd rather binge it. So I'm waiting these last 2 seasons.
I'm going to be totally honest with you. I didn't even know that shit was still a show.
They're in the last. They're in the last one. Finally.
Yeah,
the last 8 episodes.
8.
Yeah,
the final
season. Last tour too.
They dragged it out. But I still want to see it. I still want to see it. You know.
I gave that show a chance until a certain point, and then they lost me after. I think it was like season 5. They lost me, and then they got me back when Negan came in. I thought they fucked up Negan, so I wrote the show.
Dragged it out again.
Yeah, I thought they fucked it up personally. I like the governor shit. I liked a lot of what they did with him. I just the Negan thing. I thought they failed miserably with him. And Jeffrey Dean Morgan's amazing. So I was just bummed by it. And I was like, fuck it. I don't have patience for TV shows. I not like that. I don't know. Again, something like a Game of Thrones when it was really good. It was like I didn't watch it when it first came out. I didn't start watching it until season 5, and then I got hooked. Me too. And then yeah, same thing. So that's again. I think that's where my frustration comes with this thing, and I think that's where like I guess I'll leave my final thoughts on it. It's not like being a dead horse at this point with saying like it should have just been a TV show, but really, I mean that's. But look, if you enjoy this, awesome. Like I wish I had whatever bone people have that can just enjoy something. I just don't. There are things that I enjoy. Like I mean, again. Look at Mandy, right? Like I know a lot of people that don't like that movie. I fucking love that movie. So art is subjective. So hey, man, to each your own. Like I make, we all make a lot of fucking jokes. If I'm like, hey, Joe, you're crazy for like, no, I'm not saying that. I think there are things in this. You can have fun with this. Yeah, well, too. There are things in this movie. I think again, like the Nosferatu scene, and like there are things in this. There are like little shiny glimmers of hope in this movie, and I think that's another reason why I'm frustrated with it because I'm like, dude, you could have done it, like you could have, and then you Rob Zombie'd it, like you fucking went too far. You just had to do that. You know what I mean? Like you just had to fucking. God, can't you just kill me, Rob? Good boy, like that's
so funny.
Bad boy. So that's where I gotta leave it. So I mean, I don't know if you guys want to do ratings on it. If you guys have final thoughts,
ratings on both.
Yeah.
All right.
And I want to see where Ed comes up with icons for our rating system for each one. This is gonna be hilarious.
Oh Jesus Christ! Well, for Lords of Salem, we're gonna go with 1 out of 10. Poorly recorded witch music records. And,
well, I'll go with a vinyl. I like it.
Yeah, we're gonna go with the vinyl. We're gonna go. Maybe I'll trim that down to a witch vinyl albums. We're gonna do witch vinyl albums. How's that sound? All right, so 1 out of 10 witch vinyl albums for that, and then with Munsters, let's go with 1 out of 10 Nosferatu's Rats.
Yeah.
because he was my favorite part of the movie. I mean, I truly did enjoy that scene. I like that scene a lot.
I
I'm gonna
love
be
how
honest.
excited he was to show off his rats. Like he was just so happy. That was
And I will admit this too. I like the Wolfman a lot too.
Yeah, he was
Remember that
funny.
guy? He was great. He was
He was
very
funny.
good. I liked him a lot too. So again, I'm not completely shitting the movie. It just frustrated me. I get like I go.
do you want to boop his little nose? It's like I did.
Yeah.
I
I
did,
did.
buddy.
Look,
You know
I really
what?
did.
I love that scene. I'll be honest. Nope, that's making me change my fuck. I thought that was really funny. And then, like I just love
It
the
is-
stupid dance number he did at the end. But like no, that
Yeah.
was funny. It was funny,
Yeah.
but I think maybe it was for a different
Right, so-
reason.
No, so like that's the whole thing about it. Like he had a couple moments there. We're gonna keep on saying it. We're
Right,
gonna
you know
keep
what?
on circle.
Rewatch the movie, but just watch 20 minutes, then go back to the next 20 minutes and see what
Yeah,
happens.
cut it off
Yeah,
and then see if I
give
like
it a
it.
little, give it a little.
Yeah.
Be like, oh, well, this is where episode 1 ends, and then
I
oh,
like
this
it
is
in
where episode
pieces,
2
like a
ends.
body.
Yeah. If I had done that, I probably on time. I guarantee I'd like it way more. It's just the editing and everything else. It is what it is. All right.
My favorite thing is
so
I loved
for-
Colleen's reaction to the movie. This is still going.
Dude, I swear to God, we matched it. Kristen had the same. I swear to God, the
Oh, I
same thing. She's
still love
like,
it. I
she
had to
woke
bring
up
that
at
up
one
again.
point. She's like, "Wait, this movie's on still?" I'm like, "Yes, yes, it is. Yes, it is." Once you hit the hour mark and you're like, "Wait, like this has got to be coming up like to an ending, right?" No, there's another hour or close to. It's fucking wild. Actually,
Yeah.
one dude I listened to reviews on, Jeremy Johns. He had a really funny point. He's like, at the 55-minute mark, I hit pause because I thought it was going to be done soon. And then I realized that there was another 55 minutes, and I just went to bed and finished it. Like, yeah, man, you're not wrong. It is what it is. All right, so Lords of Salem. I'm gonna be honest. I'm probably gonna give it like a. I'm gonna be generous. I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10. Which vinyl records? Maybe it would get a little bit more of a bump. I guess I'd have to rewatch it. I think I need to watch the second time because I feel like I'm missing something. I feel like there's something about that movie that I didn't see, and I wasn't able to connect something. Because like it just feels very disoriented at the end, and I know what it's supposed to feel like, but like it just feels jarring the way it just changed like pace at the end, and
Mhm.
that kind of shit really drives me nuts. Yeah, I don't think it's as bad as everybody says it is. I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong, but I know a lot of people really dog that movie, and I
Yeah.
don't see what they're seeing. I'm more like Joe on this one. I'm more lenient on that movie. So,
Yeah.
what do you guys have for our Lords of Salem?
I'll go because
Pretty much.
because I threw us out there because I want to know Ben's reaction after the second watch, and I want to say that part. So it's crazy. I was where you were when I first saw it in the theaters 10 years ago. I was like, man, I really want to rewatch this again, but I'm not in the mood for it. But I liked it, but I didn't like it. I was like,
Yeah.
I was disoriented by it too. So it probably would have been a 7 at that time, maybe a 6.5. Now after rewatching it and like really just enjoying it, but still getting to that point, I'm like, oh my god, okay, I like this, but I wish it was dragged out and not like bam, like all that crazy shit in the end could have been like maybe a little more dragged or a
Yeah.
little more not explained, but a little more to it. So I would give this. I'm gonna give it 8 Witch vinyl albums. I can see myself watching this movie every year just because it is on Halloween or around Halloween too. That's the other thing with Rob Zombie. Every one of his movies, except for Devil's Rejects, is on or near Halloween.
Yeah.
Wow,
Everyone,
look at
and
that.
I gotta give
Yeah.
him credit on that. That's crazy. That's wild. So yeah. So that I would like to make this one a little bit of a tradition to watch because it's atmospheric. It's cool. It's different. I give him credit
I
for doing
can
something
get.
different. It's
I
not
get this one for
hillbilly
that.
stuff, Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
It's
actually some of his
it's a little
strongest
bit different.
writing too.
Yeah. The first 2/3 of it are.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a movie.
Yeah.
Actually, it's probably been a little more than that.
I keep forgetting I gotta read the novelization because novelizations are a little more window into things. And he wrote the book with somebody else, so it's actually supposed to be a companion piece to the movie. And I have it. I keep forgetting to read it, so I'm gonna read that. And bring it up
See
next.
if it helps.
And because I want to see where we get to that point near the end where it's like, holy crap, there is more to this, but you just can't do it on film, probably. So, but yeah, 8 witchy vinyl records.
Wow,
There you go.
Look at that.
Benjamin.
So when I first saw it, I probably would have given it like a 2, maybe a 1. I just didn't like it, but I was a
Yeah, Ben has for years told me how much he's hated it. Like he's
Yeah.
I
But
love it.
like, but
torn
like,
this movie apart.
I understand. So I was 20, or I was like 19 when I saw it, 18 or 19.
Oh yeah, that was our
Yeah.
elitist year too.
Yeah.
When we were 18, 19,
So,
elitists too.
so it's just like, for me, it's like I wasn't like super like huge into horror or like anything yet really. I liked like I like Dumb and Dumber, and it's like
I still love Dumb and
yeah,
Dumber.
I
Fuck
still
you,
love
man.
Dumb and Dumber. I'm not saying that. I'm saying like that's the shit I always go to, or like back then, like for me, it was for horror. It was like if it wasn't Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street, I didn't care. Like that was me.
I love that too, man. Because this
so-
is like a younger, like a different mirror of us. Sorry,
So
go ahead.
it's just
this is so
like-
cool.
I think maybe that was my problem. So it's like, this is fucking terrible. No one's dying. Like no one's getting cut up. This is stupid. Now I rewatched it. I'm like, well, now it's like Mandy's one of my favorite movies ever. Like I fucking love movies with weird visuals. Like The Northman has weird, crazy visuals. All the Eggers movies, like all of that's like Northman, Witch,
Yep.
Lighthouse, like crazy visuals. Like, and now it's like I look at it in a different perspective. I even really like Hellbender. Like I thought that movie was great. So once I sat down, I was like, fucking relax. It's a movie, dickhead. It's still not a great movie. It's still not a good movie, but I definitely liked it a little bit more. I'm gonna give it a 5. I'm gonna be. It's definitely better than what it used to be, or for me anyway, in my mind. But I'm glad it kind of helped me, or like over the years, my palate, I guess, got a little more refined. Don't worry, I still prefer shit like Terrifier all day. You know,
I'm with you. Cause
I still want to see people get butchered and cut up, baby. But
the new one's 2.5 hours long. But sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
it is.
And then I've heard it's very good too.
Oh, it's 2.5 hours.
Yeah, but I've heard that it's actually worth it.
Do I have to watch it? All right.
I've been hearing
Yes,
good things about
yes,
that
you
movie.
do. Yes,
Okay.
you goddamn do.
And then, so then for me, it's a 5. Do you want me to start with? How about I start with the Monsters then?
Yeah, you start with
I got
Monsters,
one
go ahead.
before he does. One quick question:
Mm-hmm.
Lords of Salem versus Midsummer. Because I know you hated both of those to some degree.
Oh,
Which one do you like best?
Midsummer is so much, dude. That movie is like a masterpiece compared
I just
to.
threw this in my head. That's a great question.
Comparatively, I can sit there and watch Midsummer. I don't hate it. Like that's a joke, but I don't like it comparatively to like Hereditary. Hereditary is like amazing, and then we get this shit afterwards with fucking weird, goofy looking Florence Pugh. It always looks like she has to fart super hard in every goddamn scene she's in.
Listen, man, a lot of people like broccoli, Ben.
Yeah,
a lot of people
great.
like broccoli.
That's awesome.
Broccoli is subjective.
Yeah, broccoli's subjective, dickhead. So speaking of subjective, and I'll start with Munsters and then get off my wagon. Which is sad because like I love Rob Zombie, man. Like I love his music. I love House of Thousand Corpses. I love all these movies. But holy shit, dude, Munsters is the worst. I like, besides like now I'm changing my tune a little bit because I love the Nosferatu part, and it just sucked, man. That movie's fucking bad. It's just I'm gonna like just not beating a dead horse. I'm just gonna give it a 2. Give it 2 out of 10. I don't even Nosferatu rats. I think Cheddar. I would boop Cheddar's nose. I would stay for that.
It's such a great scene.
Yep. I love him so much. I would fight to the death for that Nosferatu character. But that's it.
I would pine for him to make an entire Nosferatu movie.
Yep.
With just that one character.
Make Nosferatu and
let's make Nosferatu speed dating.
Yeah.
Just like a reality show. Like
he goes on dates every day. He said.
Yeah, he just goes on dates and he just can never find love, man. You know. And
I love his like weird clapping and like it just he was adorable. How did you make Nosferatu into this adorable weird dude? But yeah, a 2. Both for his cute little rat photos. God, that's it.
Go ahead, Joe.
All right. So, yeah, that was a good start. The Nosferatu stuff. Okay, so I don't hate it as much as a lot of other people do. I don't love it as much as a lot of other people do either. This is like in the middle for me. I came very close to a 7, and I was like, wait, why? I would never. 7 to me is rewatchable. Once I get below 7.
Dude, I think 7 is like borderline really good.
It's really good.
And the art scales are weird or all different.
Yeah, that way.
If,
I mean, everybody's gonna, think subjective.
yeah. So like, if this again to beat a dead horse, and then it gets back up and beat it again because it's a zombie. Again, this would have been great as a show. I think this would have been because
Yeah.
that those parts of the movie we didn't like will be that 20-minute episodes. Like, we didn't like that one. Let's go to the next one. It
Yeah,
works
yeah,
very
I
well.
agree.
If he doesn't ever do a sequel, I suggest a show. I want to see them in California. I want to see them with the family. I want to see his take on that, and continue it with those 20 minutes episodes, and then tone it down a little bit. I think it'd be awesome. I want to give him another chance and see, hey, let's see what you could do by changing it up a little bit. Take
Yeah.
what didn't work here. Having said all that, this is not a bad rating either. I'm gonna give it 6 Nosferatu rats out of 10
It's a little above average. Yeah.
because like if I would, because even when I was fast forwarding through shit today and I get to a certain scene, I still chuckled. I still like some of the humor. I still had fun with it. There's other times like, okay, all right, there's a little much, like, and yeah, this should not
Yeah.
be because again, I pause to go use the restroom. I'm like, holy shit, this is a long movie. I didn't realize it's like, this movie should not be an hour and 49 minutes.
No.
It should have been an
No.
hour and a half. Should have been maybe an hour and 40. Hour and a half would have been great.
I think
I
if
think
this
Adam's
was
Family's
wrapped
an
up,
hour and a half.
I don't even know it was that long. I think this would have been a nice wrapped up $120, and it would have been
Yeah,
far more
either a
salvageable.
TV show or an hour and a half. Like,
It
or
should have been much more than an hour. It really shouldn't. Like I think they could have cut out a lot of the fat. I think they could have cut out a lot of the stuff in between, in the middle, like a lot of the montage stuff.
Adam's Family's value was 34 minutes, an hour and 34 minutes long, and that movie's great.
They didn't need
That's
to
great.
they didn't need to drag out creating Herman. They could have just opened with the
Yeah, I agree
doctors
with that.
like doing in the scene. They could have done all that and been like, it's alive, like all of that, but they didn't need to get all the body parts and stuff. They didn't need to do that, man. Just been like, we created a monster.
If it
He's
was
an
a
idiot.
show, it would have been fine. Again, if that was an
Again,
episode of a
that's the
show,
thing. That's the thing.
fine. In this movie, it just did. So I don't know.
Ed's
I already
turn.
said
Ed's
90%
turn.
of my. Yeah, I've said most of my piece on it, and I feel like I've been fairly subjective to it. Like I'm not tearing it apart, and I'm not being like a facetious character like the internet or whatever. I'm not doing that. This movie isn't.
That was a good analogy.
Yeah, this movie isn't for me. Like it just isn't, right? I don't know
Right.
who it's for. I truly think it's designed at kids, but I think Rob Zombie failed personally.
Mhm.
I think this movie lacks humor. I think it 100% could have been pumped up a little bit with. He could have went like he. I think his problem is he's either 10 or he's 1. He doesn't have like a 5. He doesn't understand how to like. If you're not saying cunt and faggot and bitch and cunt and fucking fuck your sucking dick and let me skull fuck your mother and like if he's not doing that shit, he's like he's one or the other. You know what I mean? Like just meet me in the middle, Rob. Meet me in the middle. You know, like you were. There was a couple jokes in this where I'm like, oh, all right, I get. It. He's right there, and then he would like really reel in from there.
Yeah.
Like, oh man,
Oh man,
he needs a.
I forgot about Halloween throwing the F word out, the other F word out.
They
because
do,
I
yeah.
forgot
And it's
about
just
that.
like,
I'm like,
oh,
jeez,
yeah.
I forgot about
I'll
that.
say it for you. Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
have a
and
problem because
I know you said-
For
I know,
the
yeah,
record,
yeah,
yes,
I'm saying it
people.
for the
He's
movie.
saying it because Rob Zombie weirdly
In
puts
the
it in.
character-
No,
in the
me
movie,
you
these
talking
movies.
behind scenes out
Yeah.
of context would say, if I can't say it on
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just can't do it. It just doesn't, But yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I get it. But anyways, my point is like he's either like 110 or he's 20. You know what I mean? Whatever the fuck the analogy is. It's just again, I broke it down. I feel like us agreeing on it should have been a TV show. I feel like that's as subjective and as well thought out of a thing I can say about the movie because I don't want to tear. I'm not going to tear it apart because to me personally, I don't think there's much to tear apart. I like it's just not for me. I'm like I watched the whole thing. I had hoped that he was going to try to like prove the critics wrong with this one. I had hoped that he was going to be able to do. I really thought he was going to go more towards the Addams Family, like from the '90s. I thought he was going to do that, and he didn't. And I think that's my biggest frustration with the movie. Like when I hear how much it costs and everything else, I expected to be a little more polished. It just wasn't. And again, if he fucking was turned into a TV show, I truly think that would have been. I would watch it. I would give it a shot. I mean, like I wouldn't love every ounce of it, but I'd watch it and go, all right, I get what he's doing here. This is a cool adaptation or a cool spin on things. Or um, it's just, but as I have to look at it as a movie because that's the way it was presented to me. And as a movie, it's. I mean, man, I'll give Nosferatu, and I literally pretty much anything to do with Transylvania gets this movie the rating that it's going to get. I'm going to give it a 4 out of
Mhm.
10. Nosferatu's Rats. The movie's not for me. It's not horrible. It's not the worst movie I've ever seen. Uh, Texas Chainsaw Massacre is way better than this. So thank you, Joe.
You're welcome.
Way better than it. Like way better than it. Like, but again, it's just different context, right? So that's I can find way as frustrating as that movie was to me. It's still like it stayed in its realm, and it was what it was at like an hour and 20 minutes long or something.
Yeah,
It was super
it's a
like in
fast
and out.
paced, fun
It knew
slasher.
what the
That's all.
fuck it
Yeah.
was. It got in and out. Whether you love the movie or not,
Yep.
at least it didn't beat you over the fucking head with its nonsense. This
Yeah,
did that, and
Leatherface
I
just did
think that's
it
my
to
big.
other people.
I think the length of this movie, on top of the poor editing, is really what frustrated me about it. It was like I'm offended that Rob Zombie made me sit for almost 2 hours and watch this movie, and I'm just gonna flat out say that. So
That's
look,
really
not the
funny.
worst thing I've ever seen. Or actually, yeah, it's definitely. Here's a question for you, Joe, to wrap this up. Is this his worst movie in his filmography? It is for me.
Based
By
on
a
my
resounding.
ratings
Yeah.
of what I enjoyed, yes.
Okay.
Because I gave it what, 6? I gave it a 6. Yeah. So like, say Lords of Salem, I gave it 8. Obviously, I mean, Devil's Rejects and House of Corpses are my top 2. I love what he did with the Halloweens, even though Halloween 2. Like, if I would, man, all right. If I would, the bottom 3 for me with Rob Zombie would be oh wow, yeah, the, Monster be right in the bottom. Second to bottom would be, oh shit, just lost it. Three from Hell. Talking about, yeah, because a lot of scenes I didn't like on it, even though I would rewatch it. Three from Hell. Now this next part, yeah, 31 actually. No, was it Halloween 2? Halloween 2, 31. I'm stuck in between being on the worst 3, and I enjoy both movies. So
Yeah, I like 31. I actually think it's pretty good.
I
It's stupid. That's
right
but in a
now,
good way.
I would put 31 on the bottom, only because I was disappointed in the final outcome near the end, and also because even though I love most of the movie, there's too many echoes of House of Corpses and Devil's Rejects. It's almost repetitive
Yeah.
to me.
He recycles a lot of his own ideas.
It's
Yeah.
very recycled. Now and again I go in my creative brain and make excuses up and be like, oh, maybe it's the same universe. No, I'm not gonna do that. But like, even the way it ended with the rolling credits, it was almost like how There Was Rejects ended. It's like, why do it like that? There's no emotional impact, So like because of that, right now, I will put that in the bottom 3. So yeah.
Bottom 3 from Hell.
Nice. Yeah.
Also, quick little side note. Kata just texted me, and her input on the movie is, I bought better wigs from Amazon than I saw in that movie.
That's hilarious.
So, that's her point of view. So if it helps, I enjoyed it a lot more than her. If that helps, no, she really.
But that goes with me and Colleen too, because like that was
tough crowd.
funny.
Tough crowd. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Look, I would still suggest people to watch it, but don't just listen to what all the critics are saying about it, because the critics are really, really I didn't like it, but I can still try to. I'm gonna pull my best Joe Walsh and try to find the good in this one. And I did. I thought
I
and I
found
appreciate the way
Nosferatu.
you look at things, Joe.
I'm
My
infected
final
by
notes
positivity.
are anything to do with Transylvania is worth it. Literally, just stop the movie after they leave. Like right when you're about to leave Transylvania, just stop the movie. It's not worth it. That's where the movie ends for me. I like Transylvania, and I like all the little creatures, and I like I love the scenery, all the sets.
I actually
love
liked
everything
them when they hung out with Creature from the Black Lagoon. I thought that was cute.
Oh, I love that.
And they got together like, hey, like they're close friends.
The
I was
only
like,
problem
cute.
with that is the makeup on that character I thought was a little rough.
Because you could literally see,
it's supposed to be
like the
a
mask and
TV show.
yeah,
it was a little rough. But that's now I don't want to keep on going, because that's the other problem with like filming things in super HD like that. Normally he's a little more grainy when he films things, so I don't quite know if he understood like how this shit was going to translate on like TVs, because it like sometimes HD is the devil when it comes to these movies. Like a lot of CGI pales, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you see something in the movie theater, it looks different on the screen there than it does at your TV, because TVs are like hyper, realistic.
This movie had some CGI and it was fucking bad. Like the skeleton that pops out, There's a couple. There's Skeleton. Spot as a whole was CGI and it was really bad. But not nothing too bad though. It only
Oh, I
lasted.
didn't notice.
Yeah,
Huh.
Spot like in the bathtub especially was like super CGI. There's a part when like a skeleton pops out, and it's super CG. Like they don't even try to hide it, and it looks
In
really
the house.
maybe.
that
Oh
near the end?
yes, that's where it was. Thank you.
Oh,
And
I
it
thought it
was
was just a really bad dummy. I thought
no,
I started.
it was like
I didn't see it.
it was
but then, you know,
super CG. It was bad, but like
See, I thought the
not
scene,
enough
I thought
for
the
me to
scene
be
was
like
funny.
it's a 0 bad movie, but it's fine. Whatever.
Oh.
All right, now on
Okay.
a brighter note, I'm going to give Joe Walsh this little tidbit because I have him on video. I have now listened to the new Slipknot album 3 times, 3 different
wow.
ways. I was listening at the gym yesterday,
Yeah.
and it's a good gym album. It's a good cardio album for some reason. Like when I was on the treadmill, it just for
Some
whatever reason it was.
bands with the melodic stuff is really good for cardio. Melodic heavy,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah.
It's a good head. Like I was using these headphones, and it was really good in these. Like I could really hear all the little things. I didn't
Yeah.
like it as much. I don't know. I'm still. I would. It's not as good as the last album. It's not as good as We Are Not Your Kind. I think
Yeah.
I would still probably.
This is
I
my top
actually
three
really
album.
like this new album. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
There's a
We Are
couple
Not Your
like
Kind's in my top 3.
Adderall is bad. It's just it just doesn't fit to me. And then I'm gonna just say it. I actually like that H377 song. I like it.
I don't know.
Oh, I
Some of
love it.
them-
I love it.
I
But I know
genuinely
where Ed's
don't
going.
get the rant thing that you're saying.
I know where
I
Ed's
don't get it.
going with. I know where Ed's going with the lyrics. I think it's just cheesy, over the top.
The skull was on my head. My
Yeah, I
arms
love
being
that.
down.
I love that.
I'm not even.
Fucking hate
It doesn't
the
even
cheesiest-
it's
the
over the
cheesiest
top.
bullshit.
goes in one ear, out the other one. Don't even
It's
notice
over
it.
the
Yeah,
top.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
I get a
But,
kick out of it.
again,
The Reaper is a lie
art
is
is
a little
subjective.
weird. You know.
Yeah, again, but the music in that song, I listened to it at the gym. The music was great. Like it was better at the gym than it's been anywhere
Yeah,
else. It was
like
one of the
Hive
heavier
Mind
songs
is
on the album.
awesome. That's a
It
fucking
is
awesome song.
Hive Minds.
Hive
I
Mind
lo-
is my favorite song.
Finale is
Mind,
really
Warranty.
good. You get some like cool choir work in there, and I was like, wow, that
Yeah.
hits. And
His voice in that album, the levels he does, is some of his
translate.
best.
Yeah,
he
it's
does some good
crazy.
stuff.
Yeah.
I was concerned because I read an article with Jim Root the other day saying that he wasn't a big fan of the album because of the way they had to record it, because they recorded it separately. It's the first time they've ever done that, and he
Really?
was like,
Oh.
yeah,
How'd that work with
he was.
Slipknot? That's weird.
I don't know. Well, because of the pandemic shit. Like they all had to record it in different
Yeah.
places, and
That
it's one of
sucks.
the only times they haven't all been together to give like ideas.
Mm.
So coming from his point of view, he didn't really like it that much, or he's not as in love with it as what they were having. But hey, you're one of 9 guys. You fuck. You're a millionaire. Shut up.
Yeah, that's my. It's like I don't know. Stop.
You're
Stop
one
complaining.
of 9 guys. You fuck.
No, it's no, it's a good album. I definitely I don't like it as much as the last one
Mhm.
initially, anyways, and I don't think it's gonna be. I just don't think it's gonna beat that album. So far out of the discography, it's probably in the top 4. I would say this might even be like
It's top 3 for me. Actually,
it
I
might
don't know.
even
It's
like
really good.
realistically. I actually even prefer some of the stuff like Iowa. I know everybody loves Iowa, but I'm real hit or miss with Iowa. There's certain songs in that album that there's a couple
Yeah.
that I have to skip.
Is Wait and
There's
Bleed
some
on
like
it?
there's just some.
No, wait,
No.
you being funny? Oh, I thought I saw a smirk. No, Wayne Bleed's the first album.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I
first
love
album holds
Iowa,
up.
but I think
I
you
don't
know what?
remember.
I think I'm getting older, where it's like Iowa is a nasty album that I will always love, but there's something about We Are Not Your Kind that brings that part of Iowa out, but with all the experimental and the melodies I love that they've
Yeah,
been
you
working
got a
on
lot
all
more.
these years. Yeah, and they
Yeah.
do a lot more with the sound that Iowa was missing, because we talked about that a lot before, where like they didn't
Yeah.
utilize. The 9 guys did a great job, but there's parts they could utilize certain sounds better. Where We're Not Your Kind, and even this album, like it's an onslaught of sounds that they need to keep going with. I would love to see
Yeah.
them recreate the
Well,
anger of our
I
Iowa,
think
but keep this experimentalness in it. You know?
when me and you first talked about We Are Not Your Kind, I think one of the first things I said to you was, "That's the first album where you actually hear all 9 guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like you really don't hear them all." And I've listened to a couple of reviews on this album, and you'll hear people like, "I still don't see why they need 2 extra drummers." And I'm like, I agree, but at the same time, I think it's the aesthetic of the band.
Yeah.
Like
It's just because
Jay
no one else
Weinberg's
does
fucking
it.
amazing.
Yeah, I
That
don't
dude, his drumming in his album is fucking insane. Like,
And you get
Yeah.
a
that
sweet
dude
like
is-
DJ record scratch solo at one point, and I thought that was actually
There's- there's
I
other-
thought that was cool.
What they figured out in the last album is they actually figured out how to make the sound where you can actually hear all of the guys. You can hear everything going on.
Yeah, it's cool.
This album, you can as well. I just feel like I feel like they just did it a little bit better last time. And who knows what would happen if they were actually able to sit in a room, record together, write off ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it would have been a little bit different. I don't know, because this isn't a bad album. It's just it's gonna take a little time for me to like the other
Yeah.
albums take time for me to grow on. I mean, any of these bigger like Korn is the same thing with me. Like
Yeah.
you know I'll listen to those new albums and they're man, you've had a hell of a year for music, huh, Joe? This is like the Joe Walton
Oh, a
year.
lot of my favorite. Yeah, we got Lamb of God next week. I'm excited about. Wednesday 13's coming out. What's the new one? Soulflyers in August. Machine Head. Like I'm like, oh my god, I feel
there's
like I'm
something
15
else
again.
too. Oh my
Didn't
god.
Rob Zombie's album come out this year?
No, it was
No.
last year. Or was it
Was that
2020?
last year?
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was 2020.
Yeah,
I thought it
it
was
definitely
this year.
wasn't this year.
No, it wasn't this year. Give me one second,
way.
because he had to work. He does that. He goes to album cycle, then a movie, and then album cycle. It's just been his thing lately.
There's
Rob
something
Zombie.
else that comes out. Maybe it is just Lamb of God. It comes out next
Last
week.
year. It was last year. The Lunar Injection.
New Architects album's coming out next week, I think, too, and it's I don't know.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I'll listen to
You're
it.
not feeling that
You
stuff
know,
now? They're changing it up too much for you
it's
guys?
not. I just think. I mean, it's like everything else, man. I feel like a lot of those, like Bringing Me the Horizon, a lot of those bands, they just start going too far one way, and it's just.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the last album for what it was. I don't love it. They definitely needed to change the sound up. Because it got real repetitive. There's like a block of 3 albums where it literally just sounds like one giant album. And it did get a little repetitive. I don't hate the new singles that have come out. I've also found that I try not to listen to singles anymore, just like I don't watch trailers anymore because I feel like it ruins the album experience for me.
Mm.
Like I only listened to with the Slipknot, I only listened to Chapel Town, whatever rag or whatever, like when that came out like a year ago, whatever the fuck it was. I didn't listen to the other two. I just don't want to have it spoiled for me. There's too many
Yeah.
bands dropping singles now, like left and right. They'll drop half the album before it even comes out, and I get that
Yeah.
that's where like the model supposedly is, but that's not how I want to listen to it, man.
Yeah.
I want to listen to like the album.
Well, that's a good thing about
You know?
Slipknot. They kept it to 3. You know, like Chapel Town was to give you a little piece of it last year, and then they did 2, and Yen was closer to the album release. So, and then nothing after that until 9 days out. They started giving pieces of each of the album, each song, each day, which I thought was kind of cool with each character.
I liked I like Yen a lot better on the album. That's one of the reasons why I put it on when it dropped as a single. In the first like 30 seconds, I just turned it off. I went, no, this is not a song I'm just supposed to listen to by itself. I waited to hear it in a block.
Yeah, I get that.
And it makes way more sense too. It fits way better. Like with what is it? Hive Mind is after it, and then is Adderall.
Yeah.
There's a Chapel Town.
It goes Adderall, Dying Song, Chapel Town, Yen, Hive Mind, and Warranty.
Yeah, Warranty's awesome too. I love Warranty. I thought that song is awesome.
That's some nasty, like deep, like breakdown groove in that song. It's like wow, holy shit! Talk about channeling some old school like rage out of that. Yeah, so
this is really good Rob Zombie talk.
For all the fans,
this is really good Rob Zombie movie talk.
Yeah, you just got a bonus.
No. Bonus. This is a bonus little thing. We're also metalheads here too. Everybody,
Yeah. So we just talked about something. I wanted to give Joe. I like saying these kind of opinions to Joe versus him reading it because I think I come off like I'm a miserable cunt a lot of the time, and I'm like, yeah, it's all right.
What do you mean come off as?
Like,
text messages don't come out the way we want to. I'm the same way sometimes. Like going like these little rants.
Text is rough. You lose context.
Oh, it's a problem with that.
Well, I mean, even like the new Machine Head, like the album's really good. It's definitely like a step in the right direction for him. There's one blip for me that obviously I'm not a big fan of, but like
that's okay.
But the music in that, just like with this fucking 35, 22, whatever the song is, like that one little section doesn't ruin the song. Like the music in both of those songs where I'm like iffy on them, I like the music in them. There's lyrical choices that I go as a former songwriter, singer, or whatever. Like I just go, oh man, I don't know. I'm picky about stuff like that. Like I think it's my that's where my elitist brain still comes out once in a while because I can listen to.
Yeah, it's funny because like the
Slipknot
one,
I get it.
and then the metaphor, the thing with the Slipknot one, the metaphor, it's way metaphorical, way too much. Now, I don't mind that, but I get it. And then with Rob's, it's part of the story, but I think he throws too many certain words in there that you don't need that many. I agree with. The flow is amazing. The lyrical content, the flow is amazing, but.
Yeah, like when me and you talked when we hung out a couple weeks ago, the way I explained it to you that day was like, you're a fan, you're gonna dive deep in. Average fans nowadays don't do
And that's
that.
what it is
Most people
too.
just
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
the problem. If you really, I mean, if you look at the way most people nowadays listen to music, they just hit play, listen to it. If
Yeah.
something that they don't like, they don't listen to it again. So if it's something that's that resounding, that like punches you in the face, you're like, whoa,
Yeah.
I didn't expect
You
that
don't
to
get
happen.
right. Exactly. Right.
You
And
don't
I
get the
think that
rest of the
happened with
context,
him.
and that's the problem.
Yeah. And I agree with you on
Yeah.
that. And I think what happened with him
Yeah.
too, like all the controversies over the years with his personality and a lot of like, like things or certain things that happened over the years as in his career. I think he's just like, I don't give a fuck. I'm just gonna do whatever. Which and again, that's a Rob Zombie thing too. And I get it.
Yeah.
And it works for some people. It doesn't work for some people. Well,
It pays to be a 50-year-old man in metal.
that's really funny.
All right. Yeah. I'm kidding. All right, dudes. Let's wrap this up because I got to roll. I got a bunch of other shit to do today, and this is fun. I'm glad we got to do this one. We'll come up with something to watch. Maybe we can. I think I should be all right for next week. We'll figure that out on
Yeah.
off camera. But should we just wrap it?
This rabbit, we don't worry about
Yeah,
buckets.
peace.
You
Yeah.
look
Bye,
us
guys.
up. You find us.
Hey,
Happy October. Happy
Yes.
October. Happy spooky month.
We made it, boys.
Happy spooky season, motherfuckers.
Peace out, everybody.
Adios.
Peace.